If you're gonna do it right. Do it big. Do it with Styles.
Welcome back, everybody, to the latest episode of Doing It with Styles. And for all of you relationship freaks, you'll remember the last time Serena Denmark is back. And we last time you were here, we were talking about your relationship coaching.
Yes.
But that's only one small part of the services that you offer.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some of them. What do you got going on lately?
You know, I tracked a lot of people with whether it's anxiety or anger management, procrastination, of course, beginning of the year, procrastination or feeling stuck in your business or ventures is, something that people want to set those New Year's resolutions. Sure. And, that's sometimes where that breakdown between the conscious and subconscious can show up, right? Because in our conscious mind, we're 100% on board. We mean it. We're going to, keep those promises that we make to ourselves. But then if we haven't dealt with some of those subconscious patterns or, subconscious conflicts that are going on that interfere, like self-sabotage, the procrastination, not feeling motivated, not feeling confident, those then start getting in the way of those New Year's resolutions, right?
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that you're also a hypnotherapist, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's, I use a lot of tools. Obviously, everybody gets hypnosis when they come to see me because
Sure.
that's, how I market myself. And that's what they're looking for. But it's, at the end of the day, it's really about figuring out how their unconscious mind is creating this self-sabotage or this issue or this, where this anger is coming from, for example, or the low self-esteem is coming from. And it's, it's really always memories of some kind. We had a bad incident, whether we were bullied or we were emotionally abandoned as a child, or we just didn't feel good enough, or there was very perfectionist standards in our house. It could be anything, right? And so then in that moment, a little micro decision is made. Now, we're not usually conscious of these decisions, right?
And this is what's stored in our subconscious.
Right, and it's stored in our subconscious.
In our conscious mind. It's
right,
in our subconscious.
we're not aware of it.
Right.
So we don't know that that's running in the background. And so, affirmations are good, but you have to do a lot of them.
Yeah.
If you're going to make any headway,
right?
Because, the way I explain it is information is held in the subconscious, not so much as word files, but more as like movie files, right? Because it happened and you were in it and you were in your body.
But it's also a feeling.
And a feeling. So movies elicit feelings, right? If we're watching a movie,
exactly,
we feel it. So all of that information is held. So if they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Just like a still picture.
Right.
But you have movies in your subconscious where you were in it, you're seeing it, hearing it, and feeling it. How many words would that be worth?
A bunch,
right? Maybe millions, who knows, billions. So we're trying to make headway by changing those, beliefs or programs or patterns by talking about it, and it's kind of an uphill battle.
Yeah. Right? Well, if you're not aware of it, or a particular incident or a particular situation, if you're not aware of it, there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
Is that
well,
accurate?
That's true. So, but sometimes even if you are aware of it,
you can't do anything.
You can't do anything about it, right? So most people, obviously, by the time they show up to me, they've been thinking about it.
Right.
Something's off. I've noticed it's been going on for 2, 3, 10 years, whatever. Right. And just being aware of it isn't enough. And so I'm really good at asking questions.
Okay.
I would say my greatest gift is being a really good detective. And by asking those questions and me understanding how the subconscious mind puts things together, right? Which is a little bit different than the conscious mind.
Right.
And then, usually through conversation, things start coming to light and you're like, well, that definitely has something to do with it. Oh, that's definitely a part of You know what I mean? So it's not usually always just one thing that happened, right? There's that time that, your dad made that comment, and then the kids at school said made fun of you. And then that boyfriend broke your heart, and you just thought, it must mean I'm not good enough and unlovable.
Right.
And it's like a formula, your brain's looking for evidence. It's always collecting evidence, if this is true or not. And, if you have a belief, well, we managed to find evidence everywhere that it's true. Right?
Well, it's like
So-
my stepfather was a really good mechanic. And that wasn't his profession, but he was just really good. And so, he taught me when I was growing up and learning to drive how to work on cars. It was a lot simpler back then. And he never did it for me. He would make me do it and then watch. And then he knew when he could walk away or turn away. And I think that's why I enjoyed, from that point on, working on my own car. Or even, later in life, I started building computers from scratch. And, that whole thing was because of that trust that made me feel good.
Right.
Cool.
Well, he trusted you, and that taught you to trust yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, of course, the opposite is true so often for people.
Right.
If they are treated as if, they're
Yeah,
bad.
just hold the flashlight.
Yeah, and that shows up in so many different ways that when people treat us that way, it erodes our self-trust.
Right.
And that's I feel like one of the worst things people can do. It's not, like when people are in those bad relationships where maybe they're being gaslighted or gaslit.
Yeah.
And devalued and questioned and made to question themselves. That's terrible enough, but then that gets inside their head.
Right.
And now they don't trust themselves. They don't think they're good enough. It becomes an inside job. And just especially when it comes to lying and gaslighting, your gut's telling you they're lying, but they're really good at it, and they convince you that you're just paranoid. And now
all they need is that just one little teeny tiny bit of truth in that whole thing that makes you doubt yourself then.
Right. Yeah. And so now I don't trust my intuition.
Right.
I don't trust my discernment. I don't trust my ability to tell whether someone's lying or not. And it's really not nice. But
so stop doing that.
So just stop it. But yeah, so when people,
I have to interrupt you there because that's what I do. So, God, now I can't remember his name. He was a comedian. And
Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart.
Just stop it.
That's it.
I love
that's
that.
it. Yeah. He's the therapist that come in and gee, I'm afraid of being buried alive. Have you ever been buried alive? No, don't know. Okay, just stop it. So I would love to do that sometime.
I can do that joking with friends. It probably would.
Yeah,
no.
It wouldn't work well
if
with
they could
clients.
stop it, they would have stopped it.
Right.
So, yeah.
But how do you? I know these people come to you seeking some answers or some help or something like that. How do we reach that point if we're not aware? How do we ask for help? How do we start looking for someone that can help us? What does it take sometimes?
Human nature, and I'm no exception.
Yeah.
We tend to learn more from pain.
I won't do that again.
As long as things are going okay, or we can compartmentalize it, or suppress it, or pretend to ourselves that everything's okay, then we just kind of keep, ignoring it.
Yeah.
So it's usually when the pain gets great enough that people are like, I have to do something about this. I can't live like this anymore. Whether it's a bad habit like smoking or drinking, whether it's, your partner left you, whether you're, based on your past experiences, now you are very jealous or have anger management issues in your relationship, and you're like, it's getting to like, they're going to leave me
Right.
if I don't sort this out.
So it's self-sabotage.
So it's self-sabotage, but they don't usually seek help until the pain gets great enough.
Right.
It's really,
Yeah.
unfortunately, human nature. I always say we can learn the easy way or the hard way, but we almost always choose the hard way.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that
because
sucks.
it does, but you know,
How do we stop doing that?
Well, I don't know. I think we have to evolve as a species and as souls. Because think about it. Maybe, we'll just paint a scenario. Maybe, you're an okay person, but maybe you're a little bit selfish. You don't really think of others that much, but you're a millionaire and you got a beach house and you lay on the beach and you're drinking margaritas and you trade great vacations. Do you have much motivation to become a better person?
No.
Right. So
until something happens that affects you.
Until something happens that affects you, right? So it's like we have like that dual nature, right? We have our ego, which loves the margaritas and the beach, right? And then we have our soul or our higher self that really isn't interested in our comfort as much as it's interested in us becoming the best version of ourselves, right? Growing as or evolving as a soul being. And so, the conflict can be at many levels, right? We can have the conflict as being from trauma, right? That we need to resolve. It can also be like that little internal voice going, I got to mix things up or you're never going to grow.
Yeah.
Because if
it's that, just stay at home, stay safe, don't bother me. I don't watch TV. I don't want anything to do with politics or religion or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just let me have my little space here and I'm happy and,
Right. And so,
and
I can do that to a point. I'm pretty good at staying in the bubble. But, we all have a different purpose. We all have a different mission.
Sure.
I was listening to Eckhart Tolle yesterday. I didn't plan on bringing this up, but, he was saying when it's that inner journey, you're going within, that action really should be coming from within, right?
Yeah.
Something wants to be done through you. That's spirit acting through you. And we can do a lot of stuff, but if it's not inspired, not that much may come of it. We get stuff done. We may have success, but it may not be that impactful. Right?
Well, you may say to yourself, gee, I'd really like to do something to help people. That's what I'd like to do. But you never get around to it.
Or it's misguided. Because sometimes, there's always the real authentic way, and then there's the ego's version of it.
Right. I'm doing this for the recognition.
And we can, our ego is very good at hiding those motives from ourselves. Right. So my parents were missionaries when I was a kid. They moved their whole family to Africa when I was like 8.
Wow.
And not just them. I'm not going to pick on my parents, but it was not uncommon, right? The American wants to go to the dark continent and save the natives, right?
Instead of the people down the block that could use
Instead
the
of people down the block, but also like, who says that they need saving? Who says they need your religion?
Right.
Who says they need your culture?
Yeah.
That your American culture is better than theirs just because it's different. So we can, spiritual ego is a special kind of ego.
Yeah.
Look at the cult leaders. Look at, So, just because we getting away from that rescuer and savior complex is actually an important thing to do.
But that's and I don't know if this is true or not. I've always felt that's just an ego trip. It has nothing to do with wanting to help these people.
Our ego likes to shine it up, and we convince ourselves that we're having this pure intention. We're so spiritual.
Exactly.
But it's really coming from wanting to feel significant, like I matter, I'm making a difference. And so we can make a difference in people's life. Like I said, it's probably better to have it be the people down the street.
Yes.
Right. And do it. And, I think maybe that's why Jesus said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand's doing. Like, you're not doing it even for your own ego satisfaction, right? Doing it from that pure place. This plays out in relationships, right? The people pleaser, right? The enabler, the codependent. It's a kind of a, I wish I had a little piece of paper. I'd draw you so imagine an upside down triangle.
Okay.
At the bottom of the triangle is the word victim.
Right.
Because every child is victimized in some way. Now, some is harsh. Some is just like, what will the neighbors think? Why aren't you more like your brother?
Right.
It could be not that bad, but we still like, I'm not good enough. I don't measure up, whatever that is, right? And we are victimized by either a perpetrator in the extreme cases, or at least a judge.
Right.
What's wrong with you? Why did you get a C instead of an A? And so, but then at some point in life, so you've got your bottom of the triangle, and then up here, you got the perpetrator or the judge. At some point along the way, we step into that role.
Okay.
Right? So we think, well, that's what matters. Those are the standards.
Right.
And, why are you getting D's on your report card? Why are you 50 pounds overweight? Why are you this? Why are you that? Right? We start judging other people by what we learn we were supposed to be judged by and judged by others by. But as much as we may judge others, we're always way much more judgmental of one person.
I agree.
And that's always ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So inside of every judge is a victim, right? They were judged, and now they're doing it. But trust me, however harsh they may seem to you, they're 10 times harder on themselves. They just don't make talk about it. Now, the rescuer is this other top of the triangle, and it's a deeply unconscious part of us. Okay? It's the part of us that knows that our little inner child that's still wounded, that's like, and even though that might have happened 30 years ago, that child is still going through that. In your consciousness, it's alive still. And that part of us is waiting for somebody to come and make it all better, to tell us that we do matter, to love us and care for us. It's still, that part of it's still hurting. And so this deeply unconscious, disconnected part of us that is wounded and waiting for somebody to come and just save us and rescue us. But because we're so unconscious of all of this, we project that out onto the world. So we want to rescue others.
Gotcha.
Whether it's my husband,
right.
The whales, save the whales,
right.
Save the world. It could be a person working in rehab still using.
Yeah.
Right? So it gets very messy, And the rescuer, generally speaking, and it's often like the story of the empath. I'm not saying people are empathic, but often empaths are so triggered, like, I can't feel it. I can't, they're triggered because they haven't healed their own inner child.
Yeah.
That's why it's so triggering to them, right? And so we can't handle that pain because it reminds us of our pain. It triggers our unhealed pain. So then we want to help them and fix it for them. And in a relationship, it's particularly toxic because, they'll do something to hurt us. Then we go into the judge or the perpetrator, right? And then they say something mean to us and we go back into the victim. And then you keep going around like that. And then they're like feeling terrible. And you're just like, oh, they just need the love of a beautiful woman. And, and it just goes round and round the mulberry bush.
Yeah. And we're talking about the little childhood experiences and stuff like that, but it doesn't stop there.
No,
I mean, that continues with us our whole life.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could be something that happened yesterday that maybe we were just standing in the grocery store and we didn't like the way the guy was standing behind us too close.
Right.
Or, something like that.
90% of the time, not 100%, 90% of the time, those things are triggering the earlier stuff. Okay. Right?
All right.
If we didn't have, I don't have road rage.
Right.
Okay. I'm kind of oblivious.
Remind me never to drive behind you.
But I have a great driving record. I haven't gotten in an accident. So I think it's because it wasn't modeled for me. I grew up in Africa. There were no cars. We were just not and then my dad didn't have road rage. So that didn't get into my subconscious.
Yeah.
Right. And so I just don't feel it. I don't get triggered. I'm not saying I never noticed like, whoa, wow, that was, a lot. But
You didn't run them down and try to run them off the
right.
road.
So the more we clear, the more we heal, we don't get triggered by those things. And it's not because we're trying to go, I say there's a difference between like white knuckling it through life. Like, I'm going to overcome my fear. I'm going to resist my anger. I'm not going to let it get to me, but you're trying to like talk yourself through it the whole time. Right. Yeah. And I'm not saying those things aren't helpful, but when you actually clear it, oh, I can only feel it.
Yeah.
It's like a miracle, to actually heal the things that would get triggered by that guy in the store, So.
And I mean, this is my opinion. This is something that you have to work on every single day, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. I mean, it's not something
well, I
that
can
just
tell
like,
you what, if you do
you wake up one morning and go, oh, okay, that's over.
That, of course, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Yes. But I can tell you that getting really good subconscious change work changes a lot in a hurry.
Yeah.
It does. It takes that struggle out of it. I wake up now, and it's been a journey of years. I'm not
Sure.
saying, but I had dramatic changes after, the first class I took, and I had a whole bunch of sessions done on me, and it literally changed my life. I didn't even consciously know what had happened, but it was changing the subconscious, which is where it really matters, But now I'm pretty peaceful. Like, I don't have to wake up and try that hard.
Yeah.
And so I jump in the deep end. Like, if you come to a session with me, be prepared to make big changes. Roll up your sleeves. We're going to get to work. But we go in and we literally change those memories where those limiting beliefs, where the negative emotions and impressions were formed. And your unconscious mind doesn't care if it's real or if it's imagined, because it's just an experience.
It can't tell the difference.
It can't really tell the difference.
Right.
Your conscious mind knows the difference.
Right.
But your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference. So we not only change, it's really three components. Any memory is made up of the things you saw, the things you heard, conversation, and the way you felt.
Right.
Right. Smell and taste if we're doing weight loss.
Right.
Okay. So we go in, and the way the process goes is first you will see yourself, crying, being bullied, whatever, right? In your imagination, you bring your younger self through time, and you imagine maybe sitting on the floor with them if they're little, or wherever if they're older, and you take their hands in yours, and a lot of people do this silently in their mind so that they don't have to worry about what I think about what's going on, And you let their little, 4-year-old self tell you, oh my God, it's so terrible. My mom this, or my dad did that, and I'm scared. And when they fight, it just feels so terrifying. And they never got to express that.
Yeah.
It wasn't safe to express it. They didn't know how to express it. Nobody was listening to them. Parents are fighting with each other.
Yeah.
So all of this unexpressed feeling. After the child expresses all of that, am I going on too long?
No.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure.
No. Believe me, I would stop you. No. You're a great guest.
Thank you.
And that's what we always hope as hosts. Okay. That's what we always hope for, is we just sit here and listen.
Okay, I just want to
ask you a few questions once in a while.
I don't want to be oblivious.
No. That's why you're here, is to get this message out to people. Okay,
so the child feels understood, and then the client asks the child a very pivotal question. Is it okay to let all of this go? Now, of course, the child doesn't know how.
Right.
But sometimes the child would be, no, I think that's a terrible idea. But there's a reason for that. So our psyche often fractures and splinters off. Like, this part of me is in charge of self-esteem. This part of me is in charge of safety. This part of it in charge of whatever. And so if the message was strong enough, say you have an alcoholic father.
Right.
You're never safe. You don't know what mood he's coming home in. You don't know what's going to set him off today. So what do you learn to do? Be on guard, right? Walk on eggshells, look over your shoulder. You're never safe. So a part of your psyche may splinter off to go, okay, I'm the protector. I'm going to make sure nothing really bad ever happens
Right.
by always being on guard.
Yeah.
Right. And now that that job was important. When you were 6 and you could get backhanded for looking at the wrong way.
Yeah.
That part of you is like, watch out, don't let your guard down. You know, it's important. But now you're 35, you don't need to be on edge all the time. So this is a common source of chronic anxiety.
Okay.
When you were never really safe as a child, your baseline got set to anxious.
Yeah.
So our nervous system should be calm. Something happens, we go up, we go back to calm. But if that was your environment as a child, your baseline got set to anxious.
Yeah.
And then if something happens, you go through the roof, panic attack, right? So if the child goes, no, I don't think I can let go of this, it's because we call it the parent part, because it's that part, like I said, that learned to be the judge of the perpetrator from the parent.
Right.
That's going, yeah, letting your guard down is a terrible idea. No.
Yeah.
Right. So if that happens, we talk to the internal parent, and it might be a 4-year-old parent inside of them, right? Well-intentioned, hasn't figured out how things work just yet. They're 4. We eventually, get the child to a yes. We reintegrate the child, and I had them make a promise to their 3, their 5, their 7-year-old self that they will always put them first.
Nice.
Because it's hard to look in the mirror and say, I'm going to put you first, Serena, because we're told what? That's selfish.
Yes.
So yeah, it's hard to distinguish like what is selfishness versus what's self-love. But when you're making a promise to your little precious 5-year-old Serena that I will always put you first, that feels more authentic.
Yeah.
And easier too. And then, I have them go back together. Now the child's not like, oh my God, I'm 4 and my parents are arguing and my world's so unsafe. They have their adult self there in the picture too, right?
Gotcha.
Like a guardian angel from the future.
Yeah.
And then we get to have those conversations with the other people as well. Like everything that you never got to express. Why were you so mean to me? Blah, 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 blah. So it's just expressing things that have been suppressed for decades, perhaps. It's huge, right? We're dumping all of this repressed emotion. We're taking our power back. We're speaking our truth, and it's very powerful. And then the next thing that happens is really sweet. So we identify, if your dad was alcoholic, your mother was whatever, there's a reason they're like that, right? Maybe they got knocked around when they were a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It didn't fall out of the sky.
Right.
So they didn't get the love they needed. They didn't get the nurture and care they needed, the guidance, whatever. So there's a special way that we anchor those positive emotions, which allows us to then access neurologically all of these positive emotions instantly. And then we step into their body and we fill them up on the inside with love, acceptance, knowing that they matter. And it transforms them. You can't not be transformed, right? So instead of this like angry, person that was knocked around when you were a kid, they're like feeling amazing, right? And then now the client is seeing that change. So they got the emotions they're feeling, they actually see the change, then they give it to their own younger self. And then we take the visual part a little bit more like, oh, instead of yelling at you, now they're hugging you.
Right.
Right. So now we've changed the verbal, the emotional, and the visual. Now we've got a new movie playing in the mind. It's like recording a new movie on top of an old VHS tape. And as that new movie plays, it's not telling you that you're worthless, unsafe, or unlovable. It's telling you, I'm safe, I matter, I'm loved and accepted just as I am. And so it's that millions of words worth of information
Right.
by changing the pictures, the movie, the emotional content.
And so all of this is done through hypnosis.
We will go into trance. It could technically be done without hypnosis.
Oh, okay.
So the magic of what I do is, it's NLP, but it's speaking the language of the unconscious mind.
NLP is neuro-linguistic programming.
You got it.
Okay.
Good memory. There's a new thing that has the NLP acronym now, and it's not that. But
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so what happens with this, which is fascinating and amazing, is that trigger is gone now. It's new. So we bring in all these positive emotions which neutralize the negative emotions. So think of, you've got like anger, sadness, fear, a wave of emotion, and we stack so many positives that comes in and it washes out the negatives. It neutralizes the negative emotion. So even now when you think about it, you can remember it, but you can't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's literally gone.
Gotcha.
So now, not only you can't feel it when you think of the memory, when something that in a week ago would have triggered that, it's like, I don't really feel it. It's like you can't get the feeling back. So the golden standard is I can't feel it anymore. Not that I'm trying not to, not that I'm trying to be a good girl, even though I'm feeling it. It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
So we'll do several memories in one session.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can.
And how long do your sessions usually last?
3 hours.
3 hours?
3 hours.
Holy crap.
So I love the luxury of time.
Yeah.
I love how.
Well, and I mean, that makes sense because an hour isn't very much time to get into that crap, because I was going to therapy at the VA because of my PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, an hour is just like, oh, I just got here. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see you next week,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So I want time to talk about all the ins, the outs, and the what have yous.
Right.
And then still have time to go in and do the actual change work.
Right.
Yeah. And some people run over. But, some people's brains work differently, right? Some people are linear.
Yeah.
They're kind of like come in with the bullet points. And then other people, like, they got to talk about the whole conversation and all the,
Well,
and so that's why we need that much time.
Right. And you have those people that they're basing all of their decisions about what they're doing right now about what happened in the past.
And they don't even know it.
Right. And then you have the other people who are thinking there is just the opposite, is how is what I'm doing now going to affect me in the future? So.
And it's all a spectrum. It's the same thing.
Right. It's not one extreme or the other,
right.
But there is
it's
that.
A continuum.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, I say change your past to create a brighter future.
Yeah. I like that.
So it's, I love it. My clients love it.
You've been doing this quite a while.
I've been doing this quite a while.
I mean, at least 10 years that I know of.
Yeah. Probably since 2012 full time.
Okay.
So
all right.
It's 2026 already.
Yeah.
We're getting close to 15 years.
That's how long I've been doing this.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been fun, huh?
It has been fun. So I don't want people to think it's all like, it doesn't have to be trauma, right? Because we were, before we started this interview, we were talking about how, especially like say it comes to weight loss, for example, right? And you crave pasta and bread. And that may not be because of a bad memory, maybe because of a great memory.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So you had these big family dinners. It was this aunts and uncles and love and fun and laughter. And there was always pasta and bread. And then the unconscious mind, we could call it making a decision, but it's really like creating an association.
Right.
And it goes, oh, pasta and bread go with love and fun and laughter, right? So then when you grow up and maybe you move to another city, you're away from your family, you're kind of, lonely. And then this part of you is just wanting to fill that emotional need, but it has that association with the carbs, with the pasta and the bread. And then you just want to eat spaghetti every night or have the what do you call it, the garlic bread or whatever.
Yes.
And so it's sometimes, if you can think of it in terms of we're trying to clear up confusion, right? Because pasta never loved anybody, right? We can live
Pasta
with
never loved anybody back.
it was loved a lot.
Yeah, I loved a lot.
But it didn't love you.
No.
So, yeah, there's a confusion that the pasta gives me the love.
Right.
And it doesn't. And of course, it sounds silly saying it out loud because, of course, we know that. But the unconscious mind is a very illogical place.
Right.
And it just thinks and links by association. And so, yeah, if we can just separate out. So with a situation like that, we just want to separate out the pasta and the love, right? Keep the love.
Right.
That's the important part.
Right.
But then you can just create a way that your brain can see it as, oh, when I want to feel that, I can just think about that. I can think about my grandma smiling at me or hugging me or whatever, and then and remove the food from the picture.
Right.
Keep the important part. So the brain is just like, oh, I can text her, I can call her, I can write a letter, I can just, whatever. I don't have to eat pasta.
Right.
So yeah, it's just, if you think about it, we're really just trying to clear up confusion. It could be from a bad memory or trauma. It could be from something else. It's just like the brain, your subconscious mind got it wrong.
What do you find is the most difficult part of what you do when you're with clients? Don't name names. No.
No, very, very, very rarely I'll find someone that, like, if they can't visualize at all, and it's not like you're hallucinating the scene, okay? It's like everybody can visualize to some degree, but every blue moon, and I mean like 5 people in 15 years.
Yeah.
It's like my tools just don't work, and that makes me insane because it works on everybody.
Yeah.
I get results with everybody, and I love that, and they feel great, and I feel great. And when that very rare 1 in 100 person, it doesn't, I'm like, I'm sorry. It's frustrating.
So are you the fixer, protector?
I'm sure I have a little bit of that. Guilty as charged. But no, I don't, in the sense that I don't get entangled.
Yeah. Right?
That's why I kind of do like 1 or 2 sessions. I don't really want that I'm not taking on your burdens as mine. I'm a surgeon, not a family practitioner.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to get in, we're going to change it, get out.
Right.
Right. And
I'm
so
not looking to have you back here every week for the next
I'm not trying
year.
to be codependent or the enabler or the rescuer. Right. I'm good at what I do. I'm empathetic. I can see it. I'm a good detective, and a good psychic surgeon, I guess you could call. But no, I don't feel like I've let go of that. I mean, and of course that comes into play more with your personal relationships.
Of course.
So trust me, I have wrestled those demons to the ground with people in my life.
Yes.
Children. Overcoming guilt, overcoming that rescuer, overcoming that, like, it's my fault. Those are big things in life.
Yeah. But there are a few people out there that just suck and you can't do nothing with them.
Well, and that's, there's people you should know when to walk away from.
Right.
The guilty mom syndrome, like that's tough stuff.
Yeah.
That's tough stuff.
When we were both in the same building over there, the one thing that I noticed about people coming out of your office was every one of them was smiling.
Oh.
And it was just kind of like it didn't register at first, but it was just like, then I would see people walking by and I would think to myself, oh, they must have just been in to see Serena. But it was just,
thank you. Yeah.
It just stuck like that.
I do get that kind of feedback. And so, like, what's not to love about that? I get to really, have a high success rate, but of course, I have an ego still. That feels good.
Sure.
And no, I'm really making an impact. And just, I get that feedback that they feel better.
Yeah.
And what's not to love about that?
I could dig it. So we're kind of getting close to the end here. Is there anything that you want to make sure that we haven't covered yet, or that you want to talk about a bit?
I've written a book. It's a novel. It kind of is a personal journey of this character who experiences a lot of these childhood traumas and dynamics. And then it's like a spiritual awakening journey to remember the truth of who she is inside. It's not published yet. I'm working on that.
Cool.
So, and
do you need some help with the publishing? I'm not offering. I know someone who
Right.
does that.
Yeah, we actually, I think we did
We
talk
did
about
talk
that.
about that.
Yeah.
Yes. Never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah. Forget we said anything.
No, it's okay. I'm considering self-publishing. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of,
No.
you know, I
Yeah.
decided if I keep trying to get into the same country club and they just don't want me, maybe I should try a different
one,
club,
right?
or different.
Well,
route.
the person that I was talking about has done both.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah,
I remember now.
You know, I may
remember
be the redheaded stepchild when it comes to the literary world, and I get to like let that go and just.
But okay, so this is what I think I know about you. Even if the book doesn't get published, you will feel better having written it.
And I do feel great having written it. And it's interesting because sometimes clients will come in and they start telling me, something from their child. I'm like, oh my goodness, like that was in my book. Like that was one of the exact things that my character, So, I mean, it comes from, I feel like because reading it, you feel it, and things that we've tried to like not feel right. Push aside. And then this character is like, expressing this, and it makes it, it reminds you like, oh yeah, that was my journey too. And have compassion for yourself. We've all been through a lot.
Yeah.
We have.
I was just talking to someone earlier today, and it was their birthday today. And so I called them and sang happy birthday to them. And they said that they were really proud of themselves making it this far.
Yes.
And it just kind of hit me. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you're in the middle of one of those situations, it's hard to access that feeling proud of yourself because you're like, I'm falling apart. But it can get better. It will get better, and it's sort of like the hero's journey of every man. Like we have forgotten our divine nature. We have forgotten that we are these magnificent creator beings because we came into this world and we just started dealing with some stuff from day one. You know what I mean? Like the fear of being born, like it's terrifying, and just acknowledging your own journey and what a hero you are and how much you should be proud of yourself for everything you've overcome and gotten through and accomplished. Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
So
how can people get a hold of you? What your website?
I have a website. It's BeLimitlessHypnosis.com.
Okay.
So BeLimitlessHypnosis.com. I'm on Facebook.
Yes.
I'm going to be doing more social media. I kind of taken a break. And I'll be talking about my book and my character, and also just all these other things that I help people with.
Cool. So when you get ready to publish the book, I want you to come back and let us know.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, I will definitely
Cool.
take you up on that.
Serena, thanks again for coming in.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
so much.
it. Yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
And all of you, thank you very, very much for your support here at the station and this show. And just remember, if you're going to do it with styles.